Hello everyone, this is Shadow. Due to copyright restrictions on YouTube, I can't publish many of the audiobooks you love. That's why I've created a special paid service where you can enjoy over 300 high-quality audiobooks from platforms like Webnovel, Pocket FM, Audible, Wuxia, and more. Each novel comes as a one-time purchase, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. After payment, you'll receive full access via Telegram, along with all future updates for that novel. You'll find a wide selection of your favorite genres and titles, always in premium audio quality. Check the full list of available novels in the description. DM me now to get your favorite stories in audiobook form and start listening today. Chapter 511. Kinds of Demons. In a serene gazebo on an artificial island in the middle of a lake, four women sat sipping some after-breakfast tea as a quiet butler stood behind quietly watching. "So, you are really Theodore's childhood friend?" Elena asked nervously as she sat next to Luna, opposite Rosette and Meryl. Yesterday, Theodore informed her that his long-lost fiancée had returned after he had been abroad for 20 years. Although he couldn't tell her the details due to a family secret. From his mumbling, she understood that the woman seemed to be a little angry at Theodore for betraying her, and this meeting was, in a way, arranged to clear some things up about his harem. "I studied under his aunt, so we met a lot in our childhood. We weren't friends at first, but rivals. But things change with time," Rosette said solemnly as she sipped her tea. To tell the truth, Theodore had long been in love with her, but despite knowing that she never returned those feelings, as she thought of him as a little brother. "It was in one of our adventures that one thing led to another, and I got pregnant with Meryl?" She sighed as she glanced at Meryl, recalling that day when she was poisoned in a dungeon raid, and Theodore had to dispel the poison by sucking it out of her thigh. One thing led to another, and they ended up cuddling all night in that cave as monsters searched for them outside. He promised to marry me right after we returned, even proposing to my grandmother. But before that could happen, an accident happened. It was a trip when the ship I was on sank. I was cast away, losing my memory. Rosette kept to the official narrative. That going to the otherworld shit was not something others should know. "I only managed to regain my memories a few weeks ago." "I see," Elena said with a sad tone. In fact, George did brief her about Rosette before the meeting, warning her that she might become Theodore's main wife sooner or later. The atmosphere was awkward. "How about you two? How did you meet Theo?" Rosette asked quietly, glancing at Elena's bloated stomach. Damn it. She still couldn't believe that Theodore had that many concubines and children. The bastard. Elena hesitated, noticing Rosette's gloomy face. "Well, we met at a party. I was a model and, you know how the media world is full of dark rules." Elena sighed. "Theodore kinda saved me." She didn't elaborate. "Oh," Rosette nodded. "Theodore was a kind-hearted fool." "What about you, Mrs. Luna?" she asked as she casually glanced at the fat baby in the latter's arm. "Nothing dramatic. I met Master Theodore in a bar and then one thing led to another," Luna quickly said, keeping her face down. She was the one who tried to fish out Theodore, thinking that he was just some rich businessman. She ended up being fished instead. She was not complaining, though. "Oh, does he drink a lot?" Rosette frowned. As far as she remembered, he never drank when they were young. In fact, more than one time in the past, he stated that he was already drunk with her beauty and he needed no other wine. This statement felt really cringy, but she kinda liked it. Master Theodore developed that habit right after the young miss left. "Sometimes he can't sleep without something," George quickly said before any of the women could answer. Last night, Victor sent him a report about what he had told her before, and knowing that, George decided that this was a really good approach. Making old Theo seem like a broken guy after his lover left him. This was really the only way to make her not hate his perverted guts. Elena and Luna frowned. Theo did drink, but he was not a heavy drinker at all. In fact, he kinda only used wine to fish out girls. And what was this about not being able to sleep without some alcohol? That bastard slept like a log after going through 3 to 4 girls a night. Still, they were smart enough to realize something and chose to say nothing. "Oh," Rosette nodded with a sigh, feeling a little sad for Theodore, drowning himself in liquor and women to try to forget about her. "You are Victor's mother, right?" Rosette suddenly asked again, looking at Elena. "Ah, yes. Did you meet him yesterday?" Elena frowned, wondering why Rosette was mentioning her son. Rosette paused for a moment, glancing at George as she remembered the current situation where Elena had no idea that her son had gone missing for a couple of months. "No, it was before that," she said. "He married my daughter." "What?" Elena almost gasped, looking at Meryl and then at Rosette again. What kind of incest was going on here? Relax. I am not talking about Meryl, but Aerith. She is not Theodore's daughter, Rosette explained. They met by chance about a month ago and got married. It was also a surprise to me, especially after knowing that he is Theodore's son. Oh, that's why your memories? Luna asked, connecting some things on her own. Ah, yeah. That's why I regained my memories. Elena frowned. Really? Yeah. Your son is real. Womanizer, Rosette said after choosing her words wisely. They are married? Elena asked. Yeah. In fact, Aerith should be with him right now. Elena sighed. Damn that Victor. Where did she go wrong raising him? How many wives was he planning on taking? Why can't she have a normal son? The sight of the girls sitting around the dining table and talking was the first thing Victor noticed after he walked out of the study. Elise was grilling Aerith about the other world while the others listened with interest. So demons are not all sentient? Elise asked. There are 7 kinds. The lowest are demonic beasts, mere normal animals who were affected by the abyss energy. Mutating into monsters, those ones gave the least amount of experience points when slaughtering, but they are the most common. There are also real demonic monsters. They are kinda like the animals in the demonic domains. Those guys range from very weak to absurdly strong. Have I ever heard of some heavenly ranked monsters that can destroy entire worlds? Oh, what about the other kinds? The ones after that are real demons. They are the real people of the abyss. They seem to have their own power system separate from the one we use, Aerith explained. After that, there are the demonized. Like you? Margaret asked. No, I am the 5th kind, half-demons. Unlike us, who were born of a normal parent and a real demon, and only displayed partial demonic characteristics, the demonized are like demon beasts, people who were affected by demonic energy for a long time. They can have some very bizarre powers and are usually a little crazy, she said, hiding the little fact that half-demons can also go crazy if not careful. What else? Elise asked. The 6th kind are the possessed, she said, making Ian tense up. They are demons who shed their bodies and use their soul power to take control of the bodies of normal humans, and sometimes animals. Those guys are very tricky to locate, as only a few people can differentiate them from normal people. They don't usually prefer that way as it weakens them greatly, but it has advantages in helping them stay hidden or even cross over worlds. When you find one, we usually eliminate it immediately as they can be very tricky to kill, and if enough time passes, they might be able to completely integrate their souls with their host, making distinguishing them almost impossible. Can they become fully indistinguishable? Elise asked with a frown. Yeah. Once the soul is completely fused and the demon knows how to mimic how a human soul acts, it would be impossible to find them out, even with very precise tools, she said. In the past, one of the lords in the other world fell for someone like that, and ever since, lords have become really careful. What about the last kind? Devils? Aerith said, glancing at Lara. They are people who manage to integrate demonic bloodlines in their bodies through inheritance or various methods. They have their own subcategories that vary greatly in power, mind clarity, and integration level, but they are usually the most stable ones, and they have the ability to use the system as any normal human, she clarified. In the other world, that last kind is very rare as half-baked devils usually disintegrate into demonized people upon contact with abyssal energy. Oh! Ian opened her eyes wide and glanced at Victor, realizing something. Those, devil. Are they bad people? Lara couldn't help but ask. She was not stupid. In fact, after awakening her bloodline, she had become way smarter. Ian had already told her about her having something demonic. In fact, if not for Victor assuring them that it was fine, she would have been really lost. Now she knew that she was a devil. I am a half-demon. Am I a bad person? Aerith smiled sweetly at her stepsister and said as she unveiled her horn. HSSSSSSSSSS. Monica, Arya, and Mira, who didn't know about this, gasped. A few Maiads also had the same reaction. Elise and Margaret, on the other hand, only had an interested look on their faces. The latter, looking at Victor in the back and mouthing the word horny with her lips. Ah, no. You are a good person. Lara, who had seen this before, said meekly. Don't worry about it then, Aerith simply said as she wrapped her head again. Just keep track if you have any strong mood swings. Other than that, it should be completely fine, she added. She had long realized that Victor might have something demonic about him. Not only him, but also Meryl, as the Storm Lord had already figured this out and explained it to her when she asked how she found herself attracted to Victor. It was all her demonic bloodline seeking him out. That is why she had been trying her hardest to keep away from him lately, worried about going berserk. Still, knowing that he ventured safely into the demonic lands with his master, she was sure that his bloodline was very stable, and it should be the same for Lara. Oh, so, having fun getting to know each other. Victor asked as he felt the heavy atmosphere. Yeah. Margaret nodded. We are already best friends, she said, making Aerith almost roll her eyes, feeling as if Margaret was really as shameless as Victor. Good for you. Where is Serena? Victor asked, looking around. She should have just been walking ahead of him. She left. Great-grandma said that she has something important to do, Aerith told him. Serena walked out a minute ago, right after talking with Victor. She seemed to be in a hurry. Oh. Victor nodded. What did she ask you about? Margaret asked. Just asked about my master. Everyone keeps asking me about him these days. It is not like I knew anything important, Victor complained as he took a seat and looked around. Shall we have breakfast then? He asked. The girls nodded as the maids hurried to set the table. For Lyra, having all kinds of lowly maids scurrying around felt a little strange. Thankfully, Elle and Ian jumped from their chairs and volunteered to help set the table. So feeling out of place, she also volunteered. In the process, she seemed to have gained a few friends. Lara also wanted to join, but after George cleared his throat toward her, she could only reluctantly stay in her seat. After that, the meal went smoothly, with Margaret taking the opportunity to introduce Aerith to this world's delicacies and unhealthy food. Due to the age distribution of Victor's mansion, those kinds of dishes were the main ones present. The little girls also began talking with Lyra, asking her about the other world. The maids who seemed interested also gathered behind her to listen, with Hilda having to gesture to them to return to their positions around the table every few minutes. It was toward the end of the meal when Margaret's personal loli maid Blackie approached Victor with a note. It was written in the mansion's secret code. Don't try to look for her. Serena did not leave. She is invisibly snooping around the mansion. Be careful. There was no signature, but from the handwriting, he knew who was the one warning him. Elle really grew up. In order to deliver this note, she went out of her way to leave the table, away from Serena, probably writing it in the kitchen while helping the little girls, before giving it to Blackie and telling her to wait for her signal. Only when Serena seemed to leave for a moment to check some other room, did Elle signal Blackie to deliver it to him. Suppressing his gasp and crumpling the paper, Victor looked around nervously, then whispered to Blackie. You can clean that up, he said nervously, as if not sure if Serena was listening. Blackie raised one eyebrow cutely and then nodded and stepped away. During the entire process, she never looked at Elle, and the latter didn't even bother to glance at Victor. She just silently cursed at him for disregarding her warning. Victor naturally knew what she was thinking about, but unlike her, he could really see the big picture. Still, it seemed like her class really gave her superpowers. Name: Eleanor/L Grind. Level 11. Class: Sage. X. Authority: 110. Abnormal status: Soul mutation. Unknown. Strength: 40. Agility: 150. Intelligence: 300. Luck: 15. Charm: 35. Order: 0. Skills: Log Reveal X. Master's Will X. Awareness of the Wise X. Show it one more time SSS. Eidetic Memory S. Inspect A. Analyze A. Quick Learner A. Quick Thinking A. Convince A. Contract B. Studying C. Cleaning E. Survival Instinct E. Omni Resistance E. Dancing E. Singing E. Hiding F. Acting F. Sword Arts F. Martial Arts F. Leadership F. Cooking F. Bloodline none. Equipment none. Fate's power AAA+++. Defined fate undefined. This sage class was really something. It seemed really strong, and those skills were hers. They looked strong. Wait, why was she level 11? When did she level up? Victor really wanted to ask, but noticed that bitch Serena was still sniffing around like some dog, so he had to use some trick. Sighing, he turned and looked at his little sister. Name: Lara von Weiss. Level 0. Class: Dragon Princess, SSS. Subclass: Demon Princess, SSS. Authority: 9. Strength: 145. Agility: 210. Intelligence: 124. Luck: 12. Charm: 30. 75. Order: 0. Skills: Mana Heart, SSS. Dragon Roar, SS. Dragon Strike, SS. Dragon Tame, SS. Demonic Curse, SS. Dragnify, SS. Demonify, SS. Soul Resonance, S. Magic Resonance, S. Dragonic Eyes, S. Subjugate, S. Flight, A. Disguise, A. Hiding, A. Fire Resistance, A. Curse Resistance, A. Survival Instinct, B. Dancing, C. Martial Arts, C. Spear Arts, D. Archery, E. Singing, E. Leadership, E. Sword Arts, E. Studying, F. Acting, F. Bloodline, Devil Dragon, SSS. 1% awakened. Equipment. None. Fate. Fate's power E. Defined fate. Undefined. As expected of his sister. Totally overpowered. So, I forgot to ask. When are you planning to move in here with me? Victor asked Aerith as if he didn't care about the paper. I bet you will like it with the others. I can't. Lyra and the others are going to the heavenly sect. Aerith sighed and said, What? Victor frowned. But you promised that you would. It is my mother's decision. I can't tell you the rest. Aerith blushed a bit and interrupted. Oh, how long are you staying there? Victor asked with a frown. Aerith sighed. Just for a few months. My mother insisted, she said worriedly, not planning to tell Victor about that parasite the Storm Lord left in her. She was still shocked about it. We will be going too, Lara said. Mistress Serena had decided to take us as her disciples. Lara, who was meaning to tell Victor and didn't find a good chance, finally said worriedly. In fact, she came here to say goodbye to him and his wives. What? I never heard of this, he gasped as he nervously looked around. Young master, your esteemed father had already approved. George, who kept silent this entire time, said. Oh, Victor frowned. Don't worry. My mother assured me it should be okay. Aerith, noticing that Victor was a little worried, reassured him. She is your sister Alice's master too. It should be fine. What about our upcoming concert? Mira couldn't help but ask. Sorry, big sister Mira. We are not sure, but our band will not be able to go on. Lara explained nervously. She knew that they had already invested heavily in the band, but some things couldn't be helped. I am really sorry. Esteemed father already made the decision, she added, making all the little girls look down, feeling a bit sad. They really worked hard for the rehearsals. Oh! Mira looked at Monica, and both frowned. Is there no other way? Sadly, no, Lara sighed. Not even online? Monica suggested. That place has no internet. Lara shook her head. Damn. I guess we will have to do a lot of canceling then. Arya sighed. Father should pay for some of the damages. She turned to George and said. It should be fine, I guess. George sighed. This girl's mind was really too business-oriented. Seriously though, can't you find a few new girls? It is just a band. It is not that simple as it requires a lot of auditions and screening, as the beauty standard our company has is very high, Mira said, making Lara and the other nod with a sweet smile. And for the band that should be the core signature of our company, the girls must also be very loyal. What about using a few of the maids here? They are pretty suitable for your purpose, George said. He couldn't help but point this out, looking at the lowly maids who stood in attention around the table. In his opinion, they were really cute, and there should be no problem regarding their loyalty. Their backgrounds are not that clean, so it is not optimal, Margaret sighed. The little girls were saved by Alpha's team. If journalists and paparazzi were to dig up their past, things might get a bit troublesome. Oh, George sighed. Can't you just make them wear masks? So, Uncle George, you are into that kind of thing, huh? Victor asked with squinted eyes. George's face went black. Damn Victor. When the hell did he become like this? Where did the sweet, polite boy he knew go? Young master. The maid at the door said you wanted to talk to me about something, he said, changing the subject. Right? I almost forgot. Victor stood up. I will summon you a bit. Now, why don't you go have some tea with the girls, as I have something to attend to? He quickly said. Elle, follow me to the study, he commanded before he turned and walked out of the room without waiting for her to reply. Elle frowned for a moment, then nodded to Ian and followed right after him. Serena was naturally right behind. Chapter 512. Learned from the best. Young master. Elle asked nervously to knock on the study's door, only for Victor to barely open it and pull her inside before shutting the door close behind, totally ignoring Serena, who slipped right behind her in a split second, using some kind of skill. Elle, who could completely see her, wanted to scream at the totally ignorant Victor and warn him, but she didn't dare to do it. Is Serena still in the mansion? He asked immediately after he closed the door, as if he was afraid someone would enter. It was as if he had no idea what was going on. Elle paled as she secretly cursed at him. She wanted to say no, but Serena, who seemed to have realized Elle could see her, looked at her with a warning glare. Yes. She was in the dining room. She finally decided not to lie. Shit. Wait, could she be here? Victor asked as he began to look around. Why? Probably not. This time she lied as Serena, with an angry glare, pulled a dagger and pointed it at poor Victor's throat. Probably? He squinted and began to look around, almost making the dagger slit his throat. I meant no. Elle swallowed nervously. Thankfully, Victor, playing totally ignorant, said after signing in relief. In fact, he really didn't want to put Elle in a bad situation, but knowing Serena, she might interrogate Elle later using her irresistible command skill and naturally discover that Victor knew about her and acted dumb later. This might make her angry at poor little Elle, so he decided to make it so that the little girl was just acting loyal and that he was a real idiot. Explain then, he said. No need to lie at all. He added with a strange voice, his lips closed, making the little girl immediately understand a few things and relax a bit. After she walked out of the mansion before the meal, she walked right back, but completely hidden. I just have an awareness of the wise skill that allowed me to see her. Ian also felt something around, but couldn't tell who and where. Elle said, reporting the truth. Oh, and what did she do while hidden? She went from room to room checking things up as she stood, and heard what we were talking about every once in a while. Shit, did she find out about my porn collection? He asked nervously. I saw her go into the basement, so most likely yes. Elle blushed a bit as she remembered that depraved collection. Damn it, he cursed. Whatever. Don't say anything to anyone that you told me about this. Keep it between us, he said. I will ask my master to tell me more about that woman later. I understand. I get that you will be leaving with Lara and the girls? Yes, Elle nodded. Does the young master have any instructions? She asked. Yeah, listen up. Serena is going to be able to hear me now, but still hears you, so be careful. He began to speak, yet for some reason, his words no longer matched with his lips. What she will hear is me teaching you to not let any guys go around Lara, and to make sure to always compare those guys to me. Elle was a little surprised. We don't have much time. First of all, for reasons that I can't tell you, try not to lie around, Serena, he said, not going into any details, but the little girl quickly got it. She also understood why he revealed that she had warned him. It was all to protect her in case Serena found out that she had told him later. It also meant Serena really had such capacity, or Victor would not act this decisively. I understand, she said as she understood why Victor said nothing more. Now, if Serena asked her if she knew about her truth skill, she could easily say she figured it out on her own because she really did, with a small hint that was not worth mentioning. Victor nodded. This girl was really smart and had been growing up pretty nicely. Too bad she was still too young to be incorporated into his harem. Regarding what he made others think, he was not really into younger girls. Now, after this, make it so that you want to reveal a secret to me and tell me how you leveled up. That woman would find out about you sooner or later. Elle swallowed. She really didn't expect him to figure this out. He was far more mysterious than she first thought. I want to tell you something, young master, but you have to keep it a secret, she said after some hesitation, following his command. What? He asked with a frown. I have a skill called log reveal that allows me to see if anything got applied to me, she explained, telling the truth and also hinting to Victor that if Serena tried anything funny to make her congress a few things she would know about it. Oh, Victor frowned. This is not like the normal log, I presume? He asked. Usually, the status menu provided a log of effects such as poisoning or leveling up. Of course, he also got a lot of skill activation errors automatically when people attacked him. It seems to record everything, including the power, angle, and effect of every punch I receive and a few things like whether someone is using a disguise skill against me, she added, secretly informing him that if Serena were to use a skill to interrogate her, she would know it. It is very overwhelming sometimes, but it comes with a filter function too. Oh, cool, but pretty useless in my opinion. Not if it could help me level up, she said with a little smirk, finally reaching the important point. Level up? He squinted at her. You leveled up? I am already level 11, she said. What? You went to some dungeon secretly or? No, it is my other skill, Master's Will. Whenever I guide someone to enhance their skill usage or get a new skill, I get experience points. Also, the skills I help with don't need to wait for a level up to register or update their level. HSSSSSSSSSS. Victor involuntarily gasped. So did Serena. Really? He asked. I have been using it to help not only Miss Lara and the other girls, but also your esteemed brothers and sisters enhance their martial arts skills and manage to reach level 11 after helping 30 of them get sword arts, spear arts, and hand arts. Sadly, the experience requirements to level up are beginning to blow up exponentially. She sighed. It is called grow up exponentially. And since when are you good at spear arts? He frowned. She had no such skill. I am not. In fact, due to my F level in sword arts, I shouldn't be able to help them learn anything of value, but thanks to my log skill I could monitor their strikes, correcting them for maximum damage. The system seemed to consider this a success. HSSSSSSSSSSS. Victor gasped again. This girl is an absolute powerhouse. Serena felt the same as she wanted to grab the little girl and run away, lest someone else got to discover her talents. Can you promise not to tell anyone? Elle asked. I am only telling you because I consider you my big brother, she said, looking down shyly. The little girl has learned to be as scammy as the young master. She learned from the best. I understand, he sighed. Now tell me it is rude to ask a girl that, then changes the subject to tell me about your new show me one more time skill, he said, making Serena hear him ask Elle about her current 3 sizes. Elle gasped, not expecting Victor to know about that. It is rude to ask a girl that, she said, acting a bit angry. I have something else to report. I have a skill called Show Me One More Time. It allows me to make a target to redo his skill that I have seen him perform one more time. Oh, this. It has some restrictions, like the target has to afford the skill and all its activation conditions should be met. She interrupted him. If you discover this tale on Amazon, be aware that it has been stolen. Please report the violation. Still, it is very powerful. He nodded. You might grow up to be a real powerhouse in the future, he said. Now ask for permission to leave. Thank you, young master. If that is all you wanted to ask me about. Elle complied. There is one more thing, Victor said, taking out 4 storage rings and giving them to Elle. I wanted to give you those before leaving, but I think you should take them now lest Serena get greedy and steal them, he said, making Serena, who came to take a look at him with disdain. Those are, Elle asked, my gifts for you and the others from the other world. Those storage rings have your names already engraved on them, so make sure each of you gets hers when you are back. OH! Forgetting about Serena, Elle quickly held the rings with twinkling eyes. She heard from George that storage rings were very, very rare. She didn't expect Victor to get each of them one. Inside of them there are some souvenirs that I thought you girls would like, he said, scratching his cheek as Elle closed her eyes to check her ring. This is... She peered inside the ring and saw something that made her almost gasp. Yeah, it is a flight skill book, he smirked. Now you will be able to fly. Thank you. Elle jumped and hugged him hard, planting a kiss on his cheek. This was the thing she wished for the most. I did promise you to make you fly in the past. He chuckled as he carried her and put her down. Now, our new guests should be already here, so you'd better go meet with the others, he said, roughing her hair up. Elle nodded, blushing a bit as she looked down at her feet. Earlier, she couldn't help but jump and kiss him, but now that she thought about what she did, she wanted to drill into some hole and bury herself. She was no longer the naive girl she was a few months ago. Tell George to come see me, and send a maid to warn me if Serena follows him, he asked as she bowed slightly, then turned to leave. I understand, she said in a very low voice, still feeling shy. Her ears were still bright red. Wait for me, Tio, open the door for you, he suddenly said as she reached for the door, jumping to open it for her as if afraid someone would slip in. As you leave, make sure to leave a note to tell me that Serena was with us in the room and that she threatened to kill me if you said anything. Tell her to deliver it after you guys leave, he whispered only to her as she walked out. The latter acted as if she didn't hear him as she left the room. Victor, as if worried someone would sneak past her, closed the door immediately behind her. Serena, I will make sure Tio tell my master about you, he couldn't help but say as the door was closed shut. Human, how dare you? Mona dodged the demon's sharp claw and immediately decapitated it. You will pay. Zoe ducked beneath the demon's halberd-like tail and also cut it in half in one swoop. Do they really have to deliver that last line before they die? Zoe asked as she and Mona finished taking out 2 more grotesque demons. If one needed to describe them, he would say that they looked like some very thin hyenas that walked on 2 legs. After entering this stronghold, that just looked like some kind of underground base, it had been fighting non-stop for the next 2 hours. Demons have a way to escape using their souls. They just need some time to activate that skill, so they usually try to deliver great speeches when they feel cornered to buy some time. Mona explained as Ku finished bashing 2 other demons' heads together, not giving them a chance to speak. How far into the boss's room? Zoe asked. Until now, she had already leveled up 10 times, but she was getting a little tired. In strongholds, we call those rooms control rooms. It is just up ahead, Mona said. Do you want to take a minute or 2 to catch your breath? Nah. How about you, Ku? Zoe turned to the girl behind her. I am fine, Ku said. Let's go, Mona said, bringing the girl toward a large gate that she blew open using a strike from her sword. Inside it was a huge domed hall that seemed to be completely empty. But Mona didn't rush in, she just knelt down and put her hand on the floor. Activate system skill. Emergency dungeon zone create. Boss. Zenith demon. aka MR.X, she said. Immediately, the world around them shimmered, and behind them, some kind of mirror-like membrane formed. This is, Zoe gasped. A temporary dungeon, Mona said. Thanks to the authority Master gave us, we can create it anywhere inside this world. Even inside a ruin, she said. Its ability is very limited, but with this our little demon will not be escaping, right? She turned and asked as she threw a dagger toward the center of the room. A.M. The dagger was immediately deflected as a middle-aged man with a kind face appeared where it struck. His face was smiling, but his eyes were burning with anger. Mr. X. You are not from this timeline, he spat. At first, he was pretty amazed how she managed to follow him here. But now, watching her activate that system skill, he could tell immediately. You are one of the bitch's disciples, aren't you? Mona squinted her eyes as she walked inside, then paused right before stepping on a trap that she knew was there. From the sound of it, you are not from this timeline, too? She asked with a frown, fearing that her worst fears had become a reality. Like her, some demon also managed to retain his memory of the other timeline. This was one of the things her master was guarding against the most. That's why she locked the world as soon as she went back. Let's make a deal, Mr. X said as he noticed her frown, taking a step back as she approached. He was not her opponent. Oh, if my master were to know that I am making deals with demons, she would skin me alive. Mona spat. No matter what, stay where you are. If he tries to exit the room, attack him. She whispered to Zoe and Ku without turning. Don't act all high and mighty, bitch. If I were to come here with my real body, you wouldn't be able to stop me for even a second, he hissed. Know that you are not in your original body, or why else would I come rushing here alone? She smirked. And stop trying to use that soul migration skill. This place is already locked up. The system rules were tailor-made by my master to stop you demons from escaping. Do you have any last words? She asked as she pushed her sword into a space between two tiles. Boom! The entire trap mechanism around the hall was immediately broken. Wait, I can tell you about the others who also came here. He took one more step back, starting to panic. The others. Mona was tempted. I am not the only demon who managed to cross, you know. You are going to betray your friends? She tilted her head, allowing a swinging axe that came falling from the ceiling to miss her by an inch. He hissed. Those idiots don't mean anything to me. Really? She asked as she continued to walk toward him, dodging a few arrows that came shooting at her from various angles. Then why not give me some freebies? To make sure you are not lying. There is this demon. He calls himself the Dusk Demon. He is already here, building an army and waiting for the system's integration to invade. I can tell you all about him. Dusk Demon? Never heard of him. Are you perhaps lying? What? Impossible. Then what about the Midnight? He is also here acting as a human, he said quickly, taking one more step back. Mona didn't stop but started to move faster, now already in the middle of the hall. Bam! The ceiling broke down, and more than 30 huge demons that looked like huge creatures with spider bodies and cat heads fell from above. Swish! With a swirling sound and 20 consecutive moves of her sword, Mona sliced all of them, dodging 7 spears that were sprung from below her at the same time. Zoe almost gaped watching her. Ku didn't hold it in. Amazing! Yeah. They couldn't even make out the new enemy's shapes or weak points before they were defeated. Keep your focus, Mona warned them as she continued to step forward, this time using the spiders' bodies as stepping mats. It took Mr. X a moment to realize that the corpses were not thrown around randomly, but formed a bridge across the hall to reach his place. Damn it! He yelled, activating all the traps that he was holding back on. In a moment, the entire hall turned into a sea of flying needles. Only the spot he stood in was safe. Mona was safe too. The way she arranged those corpses was in a way that she needed minimal effort to dodge this. Wait, you had been here before. Mr. X, who realized why he failed, said in shock as Mona approached him fast. And not knowing the face of the one who killed you in your past life is proof that you had been lying all along, she said with a smirk as she cornered him. You will pay. I will be back. Bam! His body exploded all of a sudden. Mona had to use her sword and activate a defensive skill to take the blow, but was still flung away. Swoosh! In the middle of her flight, she grabbed a dagger from her boot and sliced at a random angle. A horrifying shriek sounded as a shadowy figure that looked like a bat that had its brain blown out of its skull began to evaporate. Mona's dagger hit him spot on. Zenith Demon Avatar annihilated. Congratulations. Emergency dungeon conquered. Experience points will be distributed. Wow. That was tiring, Mona said as she fell and collapsed on the ground. Her entire existence ached. Although she had the skills, her body was not trained enough to use them, so for a while she would have to pay the price. Zoe looked at Ku, then the two walked toward her. That was amazing. Not at all. This fight was one of the hardest I've had in my past life. Sacrificing 88 of my sisters to kill this guy. My master made me study it and come up with a perfect plan back then as a punishment. Who would have thought that she expected this day to come? Well, Mona sighed, not continuing. Is he really dead? Ku asked nervously. No, this one was only an avatar. But you don't have to worry, in the past timeline, I traced him back into the abyss to take my revenge. And if he dares to do anything funny, I don't mind doing it again, she hissed. He is not that strong compared to other demons. Oh, Zoe nodded. About what he said about the other timeline. He was bluffing, but he knew a few things, which meant some of the demons might have really managed to return too. He might have gotten some info from them, but he would never share those. Demons have loyalty? Zoe asked with surprise. No way, but such info wouldn't be shared without making him take an oath on his demon soul. So he wouldn't dare share anything even if I were to boil him alive. Mona shrugged. Still, I can tell that it was definitely not the Dusk Demon or the Midnight Demon who tipped him. That leaves the Dawn Demon and the Twilight Demon. She frowned. Unlike the Zenith Demon who worked between humans and his danger vanished the moment we discovered his identity. Those guys are very tricky. Until the end they strayed completely undefeated. She sighed. Then, what shall we do now? Ku asked with a frown. Oh, don't care about those things for now. She chuckled. You girls go search this place, collect back all the drops we left, and find the treasurer's chest in a hidden room behind that wall, she said, pointing to a wall to the side. What about you? Ku asked. I will not be able to move for a while, she complained as she grabbed a few healing pills and threw them in her mouth. Once you finish, we shall head back home. Author ahead of scheduled. Never mind, we'll try to finish the next one by tomorrow. /author. Chapter 513. Lowly Party. So this is Victor's mansion. Roy, who got out of the car, couldn't help but look up at the large gate and the trail that led to the grand building up the mountain. Apparently, it was meant for father. But things happened, and Victor ended up getting it. Iris, who drove them here, said, Are you sure it is a good thing to bring your sisters here? She couldn't help ask, looking at the excited little girls following behind them. Don't ask. The invitation was to them, and I am only tagging along, he complained. He really didn't want to be here, but leaving his sisters with that pervert Victor alone was unthinkable. Lady Iris! A burly bald man in a very tight shirt greeted them as soon as they approached the gate. This way, please, he said as he opened the gate. The security here is a bit tighter than my father's, going as far as not allowing cars up the mountain. Roy commented as he noticed that this burly man was not the only one. There are more than 10 standing at different points around the gate. In addition to that, beyond the tall fence, he could spot numerous towers that had cameras pointed in all directions. There was no blind spot. There have been a few incidents where streamers and citizen journalists attempted to breach the premises, especially after the wedding. Some even resorted to sticking cameras underneath cars, so we have no choice but to ban them altogether. Don't worry, a golf cart will be waiting for you inside after 20 feet, the burly guard explained in a friendly tone. Roy nodded, then followed Iris and his enthusiastic sisters, who kept looking around. Inside. After going around a curb, they quickly found the cart the guard mentioned, waiting for them with a young girl in a Mind cosplay standing in front of it. Welcome, esteemed guests, the little maid said, bowing. Please take a seat. We will be departing shortly, she said as she climbed into the driver's seat. This is... Roy looked at Iris, but the latter totally ignored him and took a seat behind the little maid. His sisters also hurried after her. Brother, come on. Stop delaying us, Harmony screamed at him. Ah, right. Roy, whose vigilance was turned to 11, could only grab the only seat left, the one next to the little maid. The cart smoothly began going up the mountain. What is your name? Roy couldn't help but ask the maid. Just call me Azure, she said softly. Nice name. Since when do you work here? He asked the little maid. It has been a couple of months, she answered. Oh, did you answer an advertisement or come through some agency? Privately contracted, she answered after a few seconds. Privately? How much do you make a month working here? He asked. Brother, stop bothering her, Harmony complained. She is not bothered. Are you? He asked, flashing a smile toward the little girl. I am, the little maid answered coldly after a brief pause. To tell the truth, his smile did stir something in her little heart. but due to the fact that he looked very close to her young master Victor, she couldn't help comparing him to the latter, who naturally won. So from the beginning, Roy had no chance. See, damn nosy brother. No manners. That's why we don't take you anywhere with us. Right? Roy sighed, deciding to ignore his stupid sisters as usual. Are the working conditions here good? He asked again. A little tiresome, but fulfilling. We have everything covered, from our meals, clothing, lodging, our education, medical treatment, and even dentals. We also get to have entertainment activities on weekends. She answered politely, silently cursing at him. If he were not her young master's brother, she would have long drawn her baton at him. Oh, not bad. You didn't tell me how much you make, though. The little maid sighed. $25,000 after taxes. HSSSSSSSSSSS. That was more than what he made working 3 jobs simultaneously. Do they give you the money personally, or does it go to your parents? We are orphans. It's a savings account under our names. We should be able to access it when we are adults. The girl was really getting tired of this guy. Wait, we are? You are not the only lowly here. Roy realized something. Why should I be the only one? Roy froze. Good point. What kind of services does your work here include? Does it include anything special? Brother, that is rude. Don't answer him. Damn stupid brother. The little girls flared at him. They are right. Stop asking pointless questions, Iris finally said. Knowing that he might be crossing some line, Roy decided to not ask anything after that. The trip went on smoothly, and after 15 minutes, they finally reached the mansion where 10 little maids stood on both sides of the gate, bowing to welcome the new guests. Welcome! Those girls were not only pretty, but they were also all very young enough that looking at them in their super cute maid outfits made Roy feel as if he was almost committing some kind of a crime. No wonder the security here was very tight. Got your answer? Iris, who stepped down from the cart, asked as she patted her brother's shoulder before heading toward the entrance. This was not her first time here, so she was not that surprised. In fact, she knew a few things about those little girls' story as she had asked Margaret about them the other day. Like Roy, she was worried about her younger brother's preferences. But it turned out to be just a misunderstanding. This way, please. The maid who drove them bowed again and gestured for them to follow her. Roy, who chose to not think about those little girls anymore, sighed and quickly kept behind his sisters. Crossing the gate, he found himself inside a very luxurious mansion. He couldn't help but whistle as he looked around at how grand this place was. Totally amazing. The difference in treatment between them brothers was really too big. Feeling a little salty, he even cursed at his stupid father in his heart for leaving him all those years to fend for himself. Don't touch anything, he warned his stupid sisters as, finally reaching a wide balcony where many young women and little girls sat around on comfortable chairs sipping tea as young maids scurried around them with all kinds of delicacies. They were separated into 2 groups, one of pretty young women and the other containing a group of pretty young girls. Lara and her group. Watching this youthful scene, Roy had to confess. In the past, he thought his father was the most depraved guy he had known. Now he discovered that his father was simply a noob compared to his brother. Those rumors he heard about Victor were all an understatement. This guy was a total scumbag. Mistress Iris, young Master Roy, and his esteemed sisters have arrived. The maid bowed and introduced the guests as soon as they approached. Oh, we had been expecting you. A red-haired young woman stood up and ushered them inside. Victor is in the study talking with George. He will be here at any moment. Come take a seat. If you come across this story on Amazon, it's taken without permission from the author. Report it. Oh my God, it's Mira. And look, it's Monica. Lara, you are my idol. Can I have a photo with you? I want your autograph. Before that woman could continue, Roy's sister ran toward their idols. Hi everyone. Why don't we take a seat first? We will have time to do all of that, Mira said as she chuckled softly and gestured to the little maids to prepare a few chairs for the girls to sit next to Lara and the others. She was used to this reaction. Ah, right. Sorry. Roy, watching his sister settle in, could only sigh and follow Iris to also take a seat next to the red-haired woman. You probably already know Mona and Monica, who are pretty famous. Iris introduced him. Those are Eliza, Arya, and this is Margaret, and as you probably guessed, they are your brother's wives, she said. And this is... Iris paused, looking at the tall, pale beauty who wrapped her head in a shawl. This is Erdi. She is Victor's new wife, Margaret said. Aerith. Those are Iris and Roy, Victor's siblings. Nice to meet you. Aerith nodded solemnly, feeling a little out of place. Nice to meet you too. Iris nodded. Aerith? She heard the maids at Theodora's mansion mention that name amongst a few new guests who were living in the high-security southern complex. Could it be her? After thinking about it for a moment, she decided to ask Margaret later about her. Ah, nice to meet you, all of you, Roy also said, scratching his head as he sat down. How have you been? Iris turned to Margaret and asked immediately, holding her hand. I am fine these days, Margaret sighed. Just some nausea. What about the baby? The doctor said there is no problem with it. The next check is, oh, that's reassuring. Do you know its gender yet? It will take 2 more months. But from traditional signs I think it is a girl. You can't believe those things. Only doctors can tell. I know, but I just find it fun to guess. Hearing them, Roy couldn't help but be surprised. Was she pregnant? It was not apparent yet. Was it his brother's? You are pregnant? Aerith, that new wife, seemed to have had no idea either, as she asked in surprise. Yeah. Margaret nodded. It was before Victor left. Really? Aerith was taken aback. Congratulations, she quickly added as she scratched the back of her head. Thank you. How does it feel? Harder than it seems. Some days it. Roy, who sat like an outsider, automatically tuned out of their conversation after exactly 3 sentences. His mind began to wander as he looked around. Why was he here again, sitting between his brother's harem members? Damn it, he felt jealous. He felt guilty for being jealous, but yet he was very jealous. Silently, deciding that since he was already feeling guilty, some more guilt would not hurt, so he began to secretly check out Victor's wives, Mira and Monica, who, after greeting Iris, went to join Lara and his sisters, were the ones he was most familiar with as he had seen them before on the internet and heard them sing. And to tell the truth, he even fantasized a little about them, especially Monica, who rose to fame overnight. He felt a strange attraction toward her the moment he saw her poster. He couldn't describe it. Now that he was looking at her in real life, that effect was even stronger. It was not love, but pure attraction. Strange. Noticing that he was staring too much, he quickly looked away. Turning around, he checked the purple-haired girl, Arya. She seemed to be the older sister type, not as pretty as the others, but pretty charming on her own. The next was Elize, that manipulative lowly who convinced his sister to come here today. Opposed, their eyes met. He quickly looked away, turning toward Aerith. She was the most charming one here. Sadly, she was completely not his type. He was not into cold beauties, he preferred friendly next-door girls. Yeah, next door, the girls were the best. Wait, why did this chick wrap that shawl around her head? The way it was shaped felt a bit strange. Well, he was never an expert in women's fashion. He didn't know about men's fashion either, as he had no money to spare on such things. But that was irrelevant. The last was Margaret. She was totally hot, but the air around her reminded him of his past girlfriend, who left him for a rich young master, so she didn't really feel attracted to her. It was just that this girl felt as if she was the main wife here for some reason. He sighed, suddenly looking to the side. His eyes locked with another girl who sat on the other side next to Lara's group and also seemed to be totally bored. He couldn't help but stand up slowly and make his way to grab a cupcake before accidentally walking next to her. I don't believe I heard your name, he said, scratching his head. This girl, although not his usual type, had a heroic air around her that he really liked. Lyra, I am Aerith's sister. Nice to meet you, I am. I heard you introduce yourself. You are Victor's brother. She interrupted with clear disdain in her voice when she uttered the word Victor. Yeah, to tell the truth, though, I only met him 2 times. I didn't grow up in the family. You are one of those illegitimate sons? She asked. So you know about us. I am staying at your father's mansion. What? Really? Yeah, in the southern complex. Oh, the one we were forbidden from entering. Sorry, it is for mother's security. Your mother? Young master. George bowed as soon as he walked into the study, then wondered why Victor closed the door behind him in a hurry. Is there a problem? No, nothing, Victor quickly replied, allowing Serena, who sat legs crossed on a couch behind him, to pick up that he was lying. Oh, can I ask why you requested to talk with me then? George asked. One thing first. Did you meet Elle on the way? Yeah. Did she say something? No. Should she? No. Not really. Victor sighed in relief. Then, about Max. Did anything happen with his case? Victor quickly asked. Margaret told you? George sighed. Yeah. She filled me in on everything that happened during my absence. Victor clarified. She said that father refused to provide her with any updates on Max's matter, though. Well, it is an inner investigation now. Even though she is your wife, you know the family rules. George clarified. Yeah. Victor sighed. Then can you tell me? What happened after Axel tipped him off? Nothing, George sighed. Max perfectly dodged the bullet and reported it. What? Victor frowned. You mean? He is not innocent. Before reporting it to us, he isolated himself and seemed to have performed some kind of a ritual, George replied. Though we are not sure. We think he might have contacted someone. Oh, Victor knitted his eyebrows. Do we know who? We still have no idea yet, but we are already reviewing all his past, so something will surface sooner or later. George sighed. Don't reveal anything yet. The investigation has been connected to a grand investigation in the family. Investigation? George gestured to him not to say anything. The info he provided was the limit he could reveal for now. I understand, Victor sighed. By the way, did you meet Axel yet? George asked. No, he should be here tomorrow, so I will get to talk to him then, Victor sighed. Was the info he provided credible? He asked, wanting Serena to hear all of this. The more chaotic it was around his enemies, the freer he was to move. Yeah, but as I said, this relates to the family's investigation, so I am not free to talk about it, George said. I see, Victor sighed. If that's all you wanted to ask about the young master. Yeah, that's it, Victor said as he walked to the door. By the way, who are the family's nominees for the tournament? He asked as he opened the door. There are many. The tournament this year has been expanded, George said. I am not sure about the final list though. It should be sent over in a couple of days. Would my name be on it? Ah, due to your accident and your class, we didn't nominate you. Would you prefer to go? George asked. Nah. My master warned me that this was not a battle someone at my level can go. He said someone very dangerous who called himself the Emperor would be there. Victor said. I just wanted to tell you, if you meet such a guy, don't provoke him, he said as Serena, behind him, squinted her eyes at this new info. I will convey this to the master. George nodded as they walked out. By the way, young master, are you planning to attend young Master Gary's wedding in 2 days? He asked. Yeah, that's the plan, Victor said. Is father invited? Yes, Master Harvey invited him along with your Aunt Octavia, but due to the trouble in the family, he decided not to escort her there. Oh, Victor nodded, remembering his aunt, whom he saw through Mike. He was not sure, but he suspected that the woman might be Harvey's daughter with his grandmother. Once he met her and checked her bloodline, everything would become clear. In a few moments, both of them entered the balcony. We rode the love train. We rode it tonight again. A few little girls were busy singing some very controversial songs on a makeshift stage as the others watched and giggled. What kind of lowly party is going on here? Victor asked with a chuckle. Esteemed brother. Lara jumped and hurried toward Victor. I think I just solved your problem, she said smartly as Ron, Elle, and Ian kept behind her. During the past 30 minutes, they had managed to become best friends with Harmony and her sisters, especially with Mira secretly helping smooth the conversation. Yeah, she already knew of Victor's plan. My problem? He raised one eyebrow as if he totally had no idea what she was talking about. Those are Roy's sisters, she said, introducing the little girls who stopped singing and came to greet Victor politely. The way they quieted down and became proper ladies upon seeing him made Roy, who was watching from the side, a little uncomfortable, but this was irrelevant. I know, I met them yesterday, Victor said as he waved his hand at them that they didn't need to act so politely. I asked them to come meet you here today as they are your fans. I know. It is just that they can really sing, and I think they can become the perfect magical girls 2.0. Even their names are musical, Lara said excitedly, totally unaware that she was being manipulated to say this. Adding to that, they are sisters. This will give them a huge boost in popularity. Since when do you think about business? Victor chuckled as she roughed up her hair. Brother, I am telling you, their voices are super nice. I am sure they are fit to take out the mantle, she said as if her legacy was something great. She had only been an idol for 2 months. Damn it, what kind of mantle was she talking about? Oh, Victor chuckled. You should ask them before deciding on your own, he said. Are you girls okay with this? He turned to the little girls and asked, not forgetting to maximize his charm just for little Melody. Yes, all of them said at once. Except for Melody, that is. She was too stunned to talk, but thankfully, everyone interpreted her heavy blush as pure excitement. We heard how Lara needed to go to study abroad and couldn't continue. We can't let her legacy go to waste. Harmony, the eldest sister, explained. What do you think? He turned to Mira and asked as if he was not sure. They will need some vocal training and a crash course in music theory, but I think it would be perfect, especially for the Grand Magical Girls movie. We can introduce them at the end, she replied. knowing perfectly that this was all a part of her husband's grand plan. She also knew that one of the girls was his wife from the other timeline, but neither he nor Margaret agreed to tell her who, as she would have to interact a lot with them in the future and might reveal something. Oh, I see. Well, I have no problem then, but make sure to get your mother to approve, he said to the girls while winking. Yay! The girls all jumped jubilantly. Roy, who stood in the back leaning on the balcony's rail, was naturally not pleased to hear Victor. Why ask for their mother's permission and not his? Wasn't he the man of the house? Well, his say in this would not change a thing, but regardless, if you ask me, there is definitely something very fishy going on here. Lyra, who stood next to Roy, sipping carrot juice, said. During the last 30 minutes they talked about a lot of random things. Mostly Lyra telling him a few things about her past, while excluding the other world stuff, and him telling her about his, so they kind of warmed up to each other. Yeah, I know. Roy nodded. So he was not the only one who felt that it was extra suspicious how the little girl's conversation turned into a singing competition. Then all of a sudden, the girls began discussing forming a band. If not for Roy being extra wary of Elise, who just threw a random word every now and then, steering the topic, he wouldn't have realized a thing. So are you going to let them do as they please? Lyra raised one eyebrow and asked. Look, I am their elder brother, so naturally I can't do a damn thing, he said. I can only watch from the back and protect them. He sighed. Bang! She slapped his shoulder. That's the spirit. Lyra chuckled sweetly, then turned to look back at the others, who began talking about their plans for the idol group. Roy, for a moment there, froze. He never believed in love at first sight, but for some reason he knew it. This girl was 100% his type. Hello everyone, this is Shadow. Due to copyright restrictions on YouTube, I can't publish many of the audiobooks you love. That's why I've created a special paid service where you can enjoy over 300 high-quality audiobooks from platforms like Webnovel, Pocket FM, Audible, Wuxia, and more. Each novel comes as a one-time purchase, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. After payment, you'll receive full access via Telegram, along with all future updates for that novel. You'll find a wide selection of your favorite genres and titles, always in premium audio quality. Check the full list of available novels in the description. DM me now to get your favorite stories in audiobook form and start listening today.